Okay, now, I skipped over the second page, so I just went over right now basic, and I went over gauge settings. Let's go to dummy settings. This is where you are going to get all of your testing from. I'm going to skip a couple of things because they're going to be more advanced uses, but I'll get to them. Let's go over the very basics here first. So the first thing that you have here is status. This is dummy. The other settings are CPU, player controlled, and player recording. They're exactly what you think they are. Dummy is, I can beat up on this training mode dummy, basically a mannequin that you can beat up on. And here's all these options you can give to them. So that's what the training dummy is. CPU is, the computer will actually try to fight you. And you can actually fight against a moving character. So for example, if you want the computer to fight like a jerk, you can turn them all the way to level 8 and all of a sudden like they'll actually try to read your buttons. And they'll beat you up with combos. Oh, look at this computer. Oh. To be honest with you, I don't see much point of this. Because fighting against the computer is not going to teach you a lot. Honestly, I probably wouldn't even use this that often, right? There's a lot of other options that will take care of what CPU options will give you. So really, to be honest with you, I don't think it's particularly useful. It's just good to practice against a moving target, perhaps, if you don't have a friend with you and you want to practice uppercutting unexpected jumps, like I just completely failed to do. You know, it's a good way to practice kind of distancing stuff if you don't have a friend to play, if you don't have someone to come and help you. So like, I'm trying to play this footsie game, you know, so you can actually kind of play a little bit this way against the CPU. So you can do that. Player controlled, obviously, if I had a second controller, which I do, actually, I could plug in. But if you had a second controller, then you could actually play against another person, and you can do a lot of tests that way. This happens a lot, like I said, even when I'm playing versus mode offline, like me and David will be playing something, and all of a sudden be like, wait, what just happened there? Did that beat that? Or how do I punish that? Hey, go. Here, turn on the... We'll go to training mode, we'll turn it on the second player controllable, and then we'll be able to test a bunch of stuff. If you have a fellow scientist with you, there's no better way to have training mode than to have a CPU controlled second person, because they can help you with a lot of things that way that you can test. Obvious benefits of using that option. Player recording, I'll go over very, very simply right now. So here's where you can actually record the training dummy to perform some actions. This is where you can get them to play back what you recorded. That's all I'm going to say for now for these options. This is really good for testing things, but oh my god, this is so powerful. In fact, this is probably one of the most powerful tools you are going to have, is this recording and playback setting. Very, very good stuff. Let's move on to the other options before I get into there. So let's go back to dummy, because obviously CPU, just difficulty setting, player control, no other setting, and recording, you've got some cool settings that we'll get to in a little bit. But for dummy, you have all these different options here for state of the character. So state, for example, I can set him to crouching, because there's going to be some moves that are going to whiff crouching characters at certain ranges, and you want to test these things out. For example, like stand fierce, you're like, this is a good button, does it hit crouchers? Why, yes it does. But if you notice something, if I set him to stand, for example, standing forward hits from further out than if he's crouching. So you can test things like that. There are some moves that whiff on crouching opponents, such as Zangief standing roundhouse, so you have a better way to test things on crouching opponents. Some combos only work on crouching opponents. That's just a fact of life in Street Fighter. That's just something that happens, so maybe you want to test combos on a crouching opponent. Some combos you want to test as anti-air, so you can switch the computer to jump. So now I can test jump combos, right? So I can be like, oh, can I do something? Yes, I can. Because I want to know what happens when I do an air-to-air move, and I want to see what I can do afterwards as a follow-up. So, like, for example, I can do Oh no, that didn't do anything. So let's go to restart again. He's jumping. Oh no, that doesn't work. You know, etc., etc. You can test combos against jumping characters this way. And also because sometimes characters who are jumping, combos will work on them that won't work on the ground. For example, oh, there we go. Okay, so for example right there, you can do a strong uppercut, hit them at the height of their jump, and then still juggle them with the EX uppercut. Like so, right? So that's a combo that works only on jumping characters. So if they're on the ground, for example, when I strong uppercut them, you see that they land at the same time as me. So that combo will never work. So you want to test it on jumping characters instead. These things are really useful because you'll know, for example, like if you hit them with a really high up strong punch. I mean, if that combo works that I'm trying right now, if that combo works, if this combo works, I mean, this is good stuff to know in a real tournament match because that could be the difference between win or a loss. I guess that doesn't work. I want this to work so bad. Okay, so it doesn't work. But, you know, for example, you want to know how to maximize the damage as much as possible. Okay, guard. Guard is a very, very important setting here. Because no guard is obviously, you know, you can do combos and such. And if the combo doesn't combo, you know, you can tell by looking at your combo meter, for example. But if you don't know how many hits the Hurricane is, and you see 4 hits, you're like, oh cool, low forward roundhouse Hurricane is a combo. Not actually a combo, if you actually look, because roundhouse Hurricane kick does 4 hits by itself. So it's not actually a combo. So there is an option that is after first attack. The second option here is after first attack. So you can make sure that you're testing to see if your combos actually work, because they'll actually block at some point in time. So this is a nice thing to have here. You can actually tell if your combos work. The one before that I skipped a little bit because it's kind of an interesting one. It's first attack only. So you want to see them only block the first attack. And then the rest of them, they won't block. So if you start something like this, they'll block. And you're like, I don't understand. Like, why is this even an option here? Like, why am I given this option here to do first attack only? Well, there's actually a couple of reasons why you want to do this. Because, for example, Ken can cancel uppercut into V-skill on block, right? Like so. So let's say you want to practice that sequence. You want to practice uppercut, block, and then attack. And see if you have the reactions to do, for example, you know, a combo like that. But the thing about it is you can't test that because on no guard, your fierce uppercut's going to knock him down, so you can't V-trigger anymore. So you're going to go, I can't test the sequence. So actually, this is really nice to have. This is actually a really useful thing to have. For example, I can cancel low roundhouse into V-trigger as well. I can't test that because low roundhouse would normally knock him over. But because of the way that it's set up right now, on first block only, I can actually test combos. So that's a nice reason to have that. For example, another really, really useful reason to have this is you can test what's a true block string. If you notice, he blocks the whole thing, and it said block first attack only. Well, it's block the first sequence of hits that's a true block string. So for example, if the Ken dummy let go of his controller, he's going to be blocking this whole thing because he's stuck in block stun. However, what happens if I do low forward fireball? Look at that. Ken gets hit by the fireball. If you want to test if something is a true block string, this is the setting that you use. I can time my target combo fast enough that it is a true block string. I can also delay it a little bit. Oops. You can. There it is, right there. You can actually delay it long enough so that it's not a true block string, for example. These things you're going to find out this way. And, you know, for those of you who don't know fighting games very well, the reason why having a true block string is significant, and I'll show you this, I'll show an example of this later on, is if you can get hit by it, that means you could do a move. So, for example, if I do low forward fireball and the Ken is getting hit, he could super me after he blocks the low forward. I'll show you that in a little bit. But that's the reason why having block first attack only is kind of useful to have. Another option is guard all. Now, this is good for times where you want to test your rushdown ability, right? So you're like, okay, you know, you could just have the computer on block only, and you could just start testing things. This I like having for Zangief, for example, because then I can try sequences, then go for spinning pile drivers, etc., etc. But that's really nice thing about having this option here, block forever, is you just want to test sequences, good block strings. So you want to see if, you know, you can try different things and test, for example, uppercut V skill. You can do uppercut V trigger, practice your timing on throws, for example, etc., etc. That's what guard all is for. Now, random, one of the biggest tenets of fighting games that you learn is how to hit confirm. Random block is really going to teach you this, and this is really, really important because, for example, let's say I'm, you know, playing footsies with the character. I have no idea how that came out. Let's say you're playing footsies with a character like this, and you're like trying to fight him a little bit, and then you walk up to him and you go low strong. Now, Ken has a combo that is low strong, stand short, fierce uppercut. So low strong, link, stand short, fierce uppercut. It's a very, very good combo. However, if the opponent blocks the whole thing, you're gonna die. You're gonna get killed. So what you actually do here is if you set it to random, now you can do this technique called hit confirming. Again, this is a high level technique. If you're just learning Street Fighter, this is not something that you'll be doing right away. It'll be something that you're doing pretty soon, but because it is very important. It's a fundamental thing to learn. But you don't have to learn it right away. However, once you do try to learn how to hit confirm, this is how you do it. You set them to random block. Because what you want to do is you want to be able to stop doing what you're doing if they block and finish the combo if they get hit. But here you go. So for example, I want to make sure that on block against Ken, that if he blocks it, I don't want to do the uppercut. Maybe I don't even want to do the stand short, but it doesn't matter. I just don't want to do the uppercut. But if he gets hit, I want to finish the whole combo. That's what a hit confirm is. So if I put the opponent on random, okay, he blocked, so I didn't do anything, right? He blocked again. He got hit. I hit confirmed, but I missed it. I missed it. It's a 5-hit combo. I missed my hit confirm. Okay, there I go. 5-hit combo. I got it that time. So this is going to be very useful because finding good hit confirms with your character is very, very important. It's actually probably one of the biggest fundamentals that Street Fighter V has. For example, low jab, stand jab is another good one. Whoops. And it's a really hard one, by the way. Oof. There you go. So you can actually hit confirm that, for example, but you have to have really good reactions and such. So it's a really, really good way to test that situation. Random guard is going to be very, very useful for testing hit confirms. And like I said, hit confirms are important for every character, and you have to learn them eventually. Otherwise, you won't be able to get into a higher echelon of play. So having random block is very useful.